Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Happy Gatty Crypto here. So let's dive into an update on the current tweet that's just gone out from Terra Rebels. And it is, dear Link community, for the next 24 to 48 hours we will be undergoing a network maintenance. A new Dragonberry patch was released by the Cosmos SDK. This will cause the network to temporarily halt. The LCD gas calculations will also be updated and fixed. So this is really good. And people down here are saying, what, is a Dragonberry patch? It's just what they call things. It depends. It could just start off as a joke internally, but it's more or less what the patch itself is called. So don't worry about the fancy name. Just know that there's a patch that's been released for the Cosmos SDK, which is going to lead to a temporary halt. As to this being on or off chain, they haven't actually stated whether it be on and off chain, but it seems that it will at least be on chain. Likelihood is you're still going to be able to trade inside exchanges, but if you've got coins to move them now, I would say. But this doesn't, this isn't anything negative. This is just totally, absolutely 100% normal to go through these, and this is part of our system. So get used to 24 to 48 hour network halts to get things like this into place. It's a security release, and security should be our number one priority and concern. Why is that? Well, we suffered one of the greatest, security exploits that I've ever seen exploited in crypto. There's an Ethereum classic for the same reason. That Ethereum was attacked, many times over, but we really don't want to suffer the same fate as we have originally suffered, because that would just be silly for us to suffer the same fate as our, predecessors. And we always want to ensure we're taking network security to the highest regard over everything. And this is why it's always good to be under one banner as much as possible, because when there's division, things like this probably could get buried underneath all of the drama and other things that are being created on days like today. So guys, don't freak out when you can't move coins and things like that. And I'm sure they'll be getting a better system in place to possibly send out alerts, maybe as a one-time message thing when you open Terra Station, saying there's a network halt currently, and informing that average everyday person. Because what I find is a lot of people don't actually have Twitter, and from polls I have run, people say to me all the time, I just don't have Twitter and I rely on your updates. So there's a lot of people on Twitter who also message me like, dude, we just put a tweet out and call it that. And it's, I have to provide for both YouTube and the Twitter environment. Twitter not so heavily, because it's a bit of a weird one really. I've always found the more following I got, the less reach I have, so to speak. But I'm not a huge person who can sit there on Twitter talking this, that and the other. I'm always working on different things, and currently working on our own two projects. It's just draining. So yeah, and the projects we're working on will rely on the blockchain being secure. So I think this is really, really good. And it's a vulnerability that impacts all IBC enabled Cosmos chains. And IBC being inter-blockchain communication, meaning our ability to communicate with other blockchains inside the Cosmos SDK. And this is what I was saying to people. It's not just us that use the Cosmos. There are other, blockchains that use this technology. It's open source. Anybody can use it. So going over to a more Bernie talk, and I just want to take this moment to appreciate the fact that we've nearly burnt 20 billion coins in less than half a year. And for me, this is a great achievement. Many people have attributed to this, and I also want to take this moment to actually sit and say to people, Lunatics Token have been in the movement now for quite some time, and they've burnt a lot of coins, and they've done a lot of good things for this community, and they're still here. Under great amounts of scrutiny, they're still here. They're still trying to better themselves. They're trying to think of more ways that they can become more involved in the movement, and my hat's off to them, because at the end of the day, they're doing something. And we can't always look at every project and just go, they're bad because they want to make money. If that was the case, no one would get involved in Lunar Classic itself. The reason why people do want to get involved is because there's huge amounts of money on the line and at stake. If you can hold your line, you can figure things out and use the blockchain to your advantage. Or if you're just an average, everyday trader, you can just hodl. Delegate your coins to a validator and earn really good passive rewards. What I'm getting from my delegations, I believe, is absolutely awesome, and I've never quite got good staking rewards like I have on Terra Station. Everything else always seems to be a little bit too far-fetched. I've got to do too many things to do it. I've got to buy coins off PancakeSwap, send them to this place and this, that and the other, whereas Terra Station's always been uber simple. And this is something I keep saying to people, is that we have such an awesome, well built out system. So with the tax reduction pretty much 100% going to happen, because with KuCoin voting, it really does push this proposal to where it needs to be. And I think it's a 100% passer. It's going to happen. And we will see the lowering of the burn tax, so to speak, and then 10% to be set aside for the financing of the ecosystem infrastructure and contributors. And I think this is good on many fronts, because if it all does go to plan like they're saying, right, then we should see volume flock back and it all go back to how it was prior. New projects will jump on board because they'll see that there's not really much of any fees. Projects that for whatever reason didn't want to come back before the burn tax was in place will suddenly want to come back. And all of the other things that are obviously explained inside this proposal, and then it fixing all of the issues with smart contracts and the double taxing that happens. Because from what I do know, the projects that are having issues would rather the burn tax just go because of the double taxing, having to change smart contracts and all of the other ins and outs across the board, because everything is time and money for these people, and they have to normally pay people to do stuff, and front-end developers, back-end developers, and all those things. So it's all about how much they want to put into it, so to speak. And for some of them, it's just not worth it right now because they're at such a huge loss. So I really do hope this fixes things and helps push things along. And, this was always the idea behind having an interchangeable tax system, that we can change it easily for a parameter proposal. So folks, I'm going to leave it on that note. Just remember, blockchain halt, 24 to 48 hours. Stay safe. You need to trade. Do it now. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. And I'll catch you in the next one. Sure.